Welcome to another Packaging Europe podcast. I'm Tim Sykes, and today we're returning to the topic of extending the performance of fibre-based materials. Recently, we looked at this huge trend of paperization from the point of view of a fibre-based packaging manufacturer, Stora Enso. And today we have the opportunity to explore this subject from the vantage point of a specialty chemicals business that's deeply involved in this trend. So big welcome to Samir Singla, who is CEO of Archroma Packaging Technologies. Thanks very much for joining us today, Samir.
Thank you, Tim. It's glad to be on this podcast and share some insights about the industry with you. So thank you for the opportunity.
Great. So it would be great if you could give us just a quick overview of Archroma Packaging Technologies and where does it sit within the wider Archroma group?
So Archroma has 140 plus years of history dealing with and working with cellulose. So Archroma has two businesses, one focused on textiles and the other one focused on packaging technologies. This is a culmination of the old SIBA and HOIS, what we've put together at Archroma, and how we lead and develop solutions with cellulose, whether it's coloration, whether it's process chemistry, or whether it's functional chemistry. So that's how we go to market. Archroma Packaging Technologies has about 17 manufacturing locations, and we have 12 application centers around the world to service our customers. Archroma Packaging Technology has plants in every geography, every continent to service these for our customers locally and regionally. And we have 12 application centers in major packaging and paper manufacturing countries, because as we all know, water and cellulose is not the same anywhere in the world. So our application centers actually allow for creating a global chemistry and functionalizing and preparing a chemistry solution specific for a country, specific to a region.
Thank you. And as CEO of the business, what are the key trends that you see driving the packaging market that you're operating in, and how are they shaping your strategic leadership of the business?
I think what's happening is ultimately when you talk about packaging, it's almost like a consumer created trend. Based on recent studies done by our customers and with brands and the commitment of brands to move to a more sustainable packaging solution, paperization has become the trend. And actually, the way I look at it is plastic actually has all the inherent physical properties required for packaging. But I think where Archroma and companies like Archroma play a role is paper, cellulose, fiber is the best alternative to plastic with the chemistries that we can provide, whether the chemistry has to do with the strength of the fiber or it has to do with the functionality, which is oil and grease repellent, or it has to do with the strength of a tissue. So that's where Archroma participates. We see the other way that we're looking at it is when you look at the recycling rates. In United States, plastic recycling is less than 8%, whereas paper packaging material recycling is 65 to 70%. When you look at Europe, plastic recycling is less than 50%, but paper packaging is over 80%. So it's not just about bringing the solution that's sustainable. It's also making sure from a circularity perspective, does the infrastructure exist? And our belief is because the infrastructure exists, because our substrates are recyclable, compostable, it is a responsibility of the chemical and the chemistry and the functionality providers to come up with sustainable chemistry. So I feel the circularity, the basic bare bone in fiber from both the raw material all the way to the recycling stream, everything exists. Now, it's in our hands to create the chemistry in the middle, from pulp to paper to board to box, and then the recycling stream. So I feel this trend is here to stay. It is a consumer and brand-driven trend, and we're participating in it to make sure that we do our part to bring sustainable solutions.
Thank you. Great. So often when we look at the question of extending the functionality of paper, we see there are often trade-offs between performance extension and retaining that circularity and the good recycling performance that we have in the paper stream. How can we neutralize those trade-offs? And you've spoken about your expertise in chemistry and the solutions you have. Could you go into a bit more detail about the solutions that you have, within the heritage of your company, and the kinds of innovations that you are driving to sort of further address this?
Great question, Tim. I think, look, sustainability by itself is not one step from A to B. It's a journey. So I give examples to our team when I'm sitting with the R&D team to not get disheartened. If a customer's requirement to have a sustainable cup with sustainable chemistry is to hold coffee for 72 hours. I think it's very important for us to understand there are probably consumers in the market that would be just okay to have a cup hold coffee for 4 hours, maybe 6 hours, maybe 12 hours. And I think there is a segment of population which is probably willing to pay a premium for a cup that is not as functional as what we're used to today. And I think so for adoption and for circularity, we're going to have to take the first step of allowing innovators and companies like ours and converters be able to bring solutions that might not be 100% there. It doesn't mean it's the wrong answer. It doesn't mean that we are not capable of providing sustainable solution. It just means that adopting these solutions, the consumer has to sometimes make a choice. The brand has to decide they might have to have 2 SKUs. The supply chain has to be able to provide that. So I think the collaboration required in the value chain and the supply chain, it's going to take time. Solutions are available. It's the cost of what we call sustainability. Everyone's driving for a like for like. Believe me, our teams are working for a like for like from a performance perspective, from a cost perspective, from a supply chain perspective. But we're not going to get there if we don't take the first step of trying the cup for 4 hours, if we want a cup that survives 72 hours. So it's going to require consumer behavior to solution providers to decide how sustainability cycle will work.
Yeah, indeed. And I think we've often seen in different fields of sustainable innovation, it at the first step, it requires a certain amount of reasonable compromise between the packaging innovation and the brand owner. And sometimes the shelf life doesn't have to be quite as long as they would really ideally like. And in your example, the coffee cup, who's going to drink the coffee when it's cold after 4 hours?
Yeah. Well, the question is, we all have to look, there's always, when I look at all of these things, is there's always a segment that's willing to pay for it. And there's always a segment that doesn't need it for the length and doesn't need the 100% of performance requirements. So if we can start with the segment that's willing to live and willing to pay for the functionality that we can bring, we're already starting to move a step further from where we are today.
Yeah, great. So I'm interested in your thoughts about how you can realize this opportunity technologically and as a business. And we've noticed that Archroma Packaging Technologies has been active in various cross-industry platforms and collaborations, including the Sustainable and Alternative Fibers Initiative, and in Europe, the Forever Green Alliance. What role does that kind of value chain collaboration play in bringing this vision of circular functional fibers to reality?
Great question, Tim. I think these forums are very critical for us to bring sustainable solutions to market. Because in these forums, it's not just the collaboration, but it's the transparency of understanding what we are trying to solve. And these forums are the places where we have the best of the best minds from different parts of the value chain of the industry that are able to talk hopefully in these forums freely about the challenges and the kinds of solutions that are available. So what I've enjoyed and what I've learned from my teams is when you go here, we have we have a we have an insight from a consumer because the brands are present here. We have an insight from the converters and the mills and the paper manufacturers and the board manufacturers on how to design and what are the design requirements for the brand. We have a insight of companies like Archroma on how to deliver that functionality to be able to deliver to the brand promise. And then we have people here from industry wide universities, startups, and innovation consultants that are helping us design to what the consumer need is, design to what the legislation is, design to our ultimate goal of having sustainability and improving sustainability in the packaging world. So we take these programs seriously. We are actively participating in it, and we remain excited. And I find it very promising of where this is headed.
Great, thank you. And you've mentioned already that Archroma is present globally and across lots of different regions. Do you see this fiberization trend that we're talking about happening everywhere where you're present? Are there regional differences that are clear to see?
I mean, actually, pretty much, I travel around the world. I meet a lot of our customers, a lot of our partners. Paperization is for real. I think the consumers has made a choice. They see paper as a very viable solution for their packaging needs. I think what the difference that I see around the world is, for example, India has already banned single-use plastic. United Kingdoms has banned single-use plastic. I think it's very important to adapt to some of the policies that are coming out. But I think ultimately, what I find different is adoption. If legislation is not there, it takes longer for us to develop a solution. If a legislation is already implemented, I find brands, consumers, and our customers, the converting partner, and the mill community working actively to come up with solutions. And I think when we sit and talk, whether we're talking about the regulatory environment or the policy manufacturers, it is very important to have a policy to create a sustainable world. But I think what's clear to us is that we have to work together. I think legislation that is driving these policies in actually accelerate innovation. But best solutions will be when industry and the policy leaders work together to bring an actionable legislation to market. I think independently, it is very hard to meet the needs both for the government and for the consumers.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking around the world, there's a lot of dynamism in the current landscape for regulation. Here in Europe, we have PPWR unfolding, other territories also developing regulation at different pace in slightly different directions. And EPR, of course, is spreading across more and more regions. Would you see a kind of correlation between how advanced the regulation is and the short-term outlook for market hunger for fiber-based solutions?
Yeah, so look, I think when we look at packaging technologies as an organization, I think we are trying to adopt to the policy and the legislation, but our purpose is very simple. We want to bring sustainable chemistry to the market. So whether the legislation exists or does not exist, we have to do the right thing by what chemistry we have, what knowledge we have about the industry, and what solutions we can provide to our customers. So for us, we are participating in most of the forums that are focused on sustainable packaging. We are working with customers, which I would say probably 90 to 100% of our customers have a sustainability goal. They want sustainable solutions. So for Archroma, it's not just the functionality and the sustainable chemistry that we bring to the customer. It also comes with having sustainable plants, watching our energy and water usage at our plants. And then also we have process chemistry that we bring to our customers where they can reduce the water, they can reduce the use of energy. So sustainability is not just one box and how sustainable the box is. It's got to be the whole value chain and how what the companies are doing. So at Archroma, we will always abide by the legislation. Like I said before, for me, the way I look at it is what legislation is allowing for us to do is accelerating both the innovation in our industry as well as hopefully the adoption of these sustainable solutions.
Thank you. So, final question, Samir. If you were to gaze into your crystal ball, what do you see in the future for fiber-based packaging and this chemistry that enables it to reach further? How far do you see this journey going?
I think, look, the way we look at the whole industry is we're looking for sustainable solutions. And I think, yes, the lead and today's product is the fiber-based industry. And I think the fiber-based industry, the paperization is going to lead sustainability. But as Archroma, we are very substrate agnostic. We are creating solutions for sustainable packaging. And I think this is an opportunity for the whole packaging industry to utilize chemistry as a vehicle to bring sustainable solutions. So for me, like I said before, it's not just what Archroma does or what our customers do. It's also going to require public policy from a recycling perspective. So we could come up with sustainable solutions, but if you don't recycle the sustainable solution, it's just as bad. So I think it's important that the public policy not only drive what the product needs to be, but create a full circular solution. And there we need other partners that in the past we probably have not considered valuable in our supply chain, like the recycling part of it. That I think there needs to be a lot more attention. I think in paper and board packaging we do a very good job, and I think we can accelerate it. And when the recycle streams come in, that's where we need better chemistry. So I see a lot of activity, Tim. I have seen around the world as I visit forums or I meet our customers, there is a true effort to make a sustainable world. There is a true effort across every person I meet in our value chain that wants a better solution, not just better solution to make more money, to make more profit. I think what we're trying to drive as an organization and as an industry is to leave a better world behind us. I think that's a bigger purpose, a bigger cost. This is not just about dollars and cents. This is about, I have 4 kids. This is about, am I leaving a better world when I leave for my 4 kids in the next generations to come? So very rarely do you get an opportunity to participate in an industry that can have that kind of an impact. And I think we are all lucky. And Tim, with your forum and what you've put together, I think, and creating this kind of dialogue is going to advance the industry. So I see a very good future. My crystal ball says we're all going to be better off with the effort we're putting in. And I think the next few generations will thank us for that.
Indeed, and it's nice to work on something where you feel there's no contradiction between the ethical implications and the business requirements, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Samir, for sharing your expertise and your strategic insights into this really important trend. Can I finally ask if any of our listeners would like to learn more about the subject we've been talking about and about Archroma Packaging Technologies in particular, where should they go for further information?
I think there are 2 places they can go. I'm sure this will be posted on Packaging Europe's website, and I think they can go to our website and get more details about how we are progressing in the sustainable packaging area and to be able to access this podcast.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, thanks again to Samir Singla, and thanks to you, our audience, for listening. Fibre-based packaging will be one of the big topics that we discuss at the Sustainable Packaging Summit, the Davos of packaging sustainability, later this year, and taking place on the 10th to 12th of November in Utrecht, the Netherlands. We'll be back with another podcast soon. For now, goodbye.